Hello and welcome to Scott Reads Comics, Episode 7, covering Sabretooth Classic number 1. Published in 1994, this first issue of Sabretooth Classic actually reprints Power Man and Iron Fist number 66, which was originally published in 1980. So by this point in 1994, Sabretooth had become a hot item around Marvel. He was in the thick of the X-Men continuity in the Age of Apocalypse storyline where he had been made into a hero. And generally speaking, his past appearances, those issues had skyrocketed in value, and Marvel realized they could kind of cash in by having Sabretooth in his very own reprint comic. Now, why you would do Sabretooth Classic number 1 and not have it reprinting Iron Fist 14, which was his original first appearance, penciled by the immortal John Byrne, escapes me. I'm not sure what Marvel's decision-making logic was on this, but here we have it anyway, purloined today from a dollar bin, and I'm going to share it with you. And though it's not John Byrne, it's pretty darn good. So let's jump right in. Like and subscribe. Tell your friends. Stan Lee presents Sabretooth Classic. The story is The Jade Tiger. Mary Jo Duffy is the writer, Carrie Gamble the penciler, Ricardo Villamonte the inker, Jim Novak the letterer, Glynis Oliver the colorist, Dennis O'Neil is our editor, Lisa Patrick is added as the reprint editor, and Tom DeFalco is the editor-in-chief. Jim Shooter would have been the editor-in-chief when this was originally published. So we have this incredibly detailed splash page, really gorgeously illustrated by Carrie Gamble and Ricardo Villamonte, of the Daughters of the Dragon, Misty Knight and Colleen Wing, looking really cool in their private investigator outfits that they're wearing. Colleen, of course, is trained. She has Japanese heritage, so she has samurai and martial arts training. Misty was an ex-cop with a bionic right arm. And Misty Knight is also Iron Fist's love interest. And Colleen Wing had a brief sort of maybe kind of romantic interest in Cyclops when Cyclops thought Jean Grey was dead, circa X-Men 114 through 119, but just a little bit of history on her. So here we have the Daughters of the Dragon, and they have been tasked to recover this Jade Tiger statue, which is by some mysterious patron who we may see a little later in the issue. But they really dig in this splash page. They've obviously entered this vault filled with relics and cool stolen art, and just the detail lavished in here in these in this opening splash page is really impressive. A couple of ancient swords and a shield in the background there, a statue here. Of course, we have our Jade Tiger in the foreground here, but there's another statue nearby it, a necklace of pearls, a weird genie bottle. Any number of things could be in this vault, but the Daughters of the Dragon have been tasked with recovering the Jade Tiger. So they've got it. They think it's going to be an easy mark because right now they're a bit down on their luck in terms of their clients. Their client base has been diminished by recent misfortunes, and this is going to get them back on track. However, a group of thugs have shown up to defend the vault, which is hidden in a warehouse somewhere in New York City. And these are gun-toting mobster types. No trouble for the Daughters of the Dragon as Colleen kicks the one gun-wielding thug back out of the vault, and then the two leap into action in this center panel. Incredibly well choreographed action here. I'm pretty sure this was done in the Marvel method, so Mary Jo Duffy would have submitted a plot to Carrie Gamble, and he would have laid it all out, and she would have then approved it from there with the help of the editor, and then Villamonte would have inked it, and then it would have been colored and lettered. So it's a team effort here, excellently choreographed fight scenes. Awesome shot here of Misty utilizing her bionic arm to take this thug out. Sugar. Don't you know better than to sneak up on an ex-cop who's got a robot arm? And meanwhile, here we have Misty Knight using her samurai training to take these other thugs out. But the interesting thing about Misty is she only rarely bears the steel of her sword. So she is actually wielding her sword sheathed here, and it's extremely deadly in her highly skilled hands. So they've taken these thugs out. They're going to beat feet, get out of there before the thugs can recover, but not so fast. You have the dynamic duo of Constrictor and Sabretooth. And they say, I am the Constrictor, professional assassin extraordinaire. You've already met my partner, Sabretooth. Misty, I think we're in trouble, Colleen whispers. And here's a little reference to Iron Fist 14, Sabretooth's first appearance. And he's looking every bit as cool here as he did in Iron Fist 14. I love this classic Sabretooth costume. And here he sweeps in with incredible speed and ferocity and swipes Misty's .44 Magnum out of her hand. You think? Correction, Frail. You are in trouble. Sabretooth was able to hear that whisper with his enhanced hearing. And of course, we have the classic, Mary Jo Duffy has adopted the classic Claremont patois for these roughneck type characters, calling women frails. He is, of course, a sexist in addition to being a homicidal maniac. Striking with all the speed and merciless grace of the beast for which he is named. You won't suffer long, babe. I want to polish you off fast, so as I can talk over old times with your slant-eyed friend. Okay, in addition to being a homicidal maniac, he's also racist, so we'll just add that to his list of sins. Misty is in trouble, but Colleen isn't having it. She strikes Sabretooth, again with the flat of her blade. Why she wouldn't unsheath it at this point, I'm not sure. You'd probably want to take this guy's head off. It's the only thing that's going to stop him. That frees Misty, but Constrictor leaps into the fray, and he's pretty deadly against conventional foes like this. Not so much against the Hawk. We'll cover Hawk 212, his first appearance at some point. But at this point here, he's fighting the Daughters of the Dragon, so it's got a little less of a challenge than when fighting the Hulk. And in the midst of the skirmish, he drives Colleen Wing back, catches her sword with his one coil. With his other one, he activates the bank vault, and the electromagnet draws Misty Knight inexorably toward it, and the only way she can get clear of the door now as it's closing is to kind of hide inside the vault itself. Colleen sees her, but the other two don't, so they kind of lose track of Misty. And here Colleen is jammed up still with the Constrictor's coils. They're adamantium, of course, making them even more deadly. The vault slams shut. Misty is inside. Meanwhile, Sabretooth comes in for the kill, slashing Colleen in the side. She knows she's in trouble. She's got to get out of there. It's the only way she's going to survive and help her friends. So she literally dives out the window. And these two leave her for dead or lost at this point. And they figure that Misty Knight ran as well. Meanwhile, this is a Power Man and Iron Fist title, so we're about to meet our dynamic duo. Here we have a scene in Times Square is the site of unusual activity as the Gem Theater reopens. The Gem Theater is where Luke Cage, Power Man, is currently living with his friend and film buff and theater owner, the unfortunately named D.W. Griffith. And the theater had been firebombed, and now it's been renovated and they're moving back in. It's causing quite a stir because Power Man is the strongest, baddest dude there is. And he's got bulletproof skin too. Wow. So the kids love him. Kids love Power Man. Moving on inside, we see Danny Rand, Power Man's partner in his normal guise. He is the Iron Fist, but here he's just dressed in normal civilian clothes as Danny Rand. He's helping out too. And not far away, Harmony Young, Luke's girlfriend, and a professional model, is in the middle of a shoot, coincidentally, near the theater, and she hears that Luke's back, and she's going to run and meet up with him. Meanwhile, Luke is carrying their brand new soda machine to put in the theater. After all the renovations, they're going to get a brand new soda machine. Unfortunately, Harmony takes Luke by surprise, and the soda machine goes kaput. And Harmony's photographer, and he says her employer comes to complain that she ran away from the photo shoot. And Luke gives him what for, and he and Harmony go off to have a meal somewhere and celebrate his return to town. The two had been out of town. He and Iron Fist had been out of town on a mission. How are you going to spend the rest of your afternoon? Someone says to Danny Rand. D.W. Griffith says it. I like to spend it the same way Luke is, but there's only one woman who really interests me, and right now I don't know where Misty is or what she's doing. And here Misty is trapped. She can't free her arm from the magnetic lock, and she realizes too that the air is quickly escaping in this vault. Meanwhile, at a restaurant, Luke and Harmony have arrived to have a meal. It's a Middle Eastern restaurant known as Alexander's Topkaki. And a maitre d' notices them and goes to a mysterious patron and says, hey, Power Man's here. Could the Daughters of the Dragon have informed him of what you asked them to do? So this is the secret patron who asked the Daughters of the Dragon to recover the mysterious Jade Tiger. Who is this gentleman? We may find out in a later issue. But he says, don't worry, it's mere coincidence that Luke Cage is here now, and the Daughters of the Dragon never fail. They're going to bring the statue to me. Speaking of, Colleen Wing, struggling from her injuries that Sabretooth inflicted in a alleyway, has managed to get back to Iron Fist's offices, where he is just finishing a workout with Bob Diamond, his actor and sometime sparring partner. Also a member of the trio of martial arts heroes, the Sons of the Dragon. Great sequences here by Gamel and Villamonte. Very cool training montage sequences showing their rather high stakes training here with these stars whipped at Bob Diamond at lethal speed, but he's able to deflect them. And then the two really going at it here, using the bow staves, open-handed, going through their katas. And a cool little isolation on Bob Diamond's Sons of the Tiger Jade Pendant, which is magical, allows them to form into the White Tiger, the martial arts hero from the 70s. And here, Bob Diamond gets the best of Iron Fist, able to throw him down. They're considering going for another match, but the door opens and Colleen Wing, a beleaguered Colleen Wing, staggers in, severely injured from Sabretooth's attack, and she tells him what danger Misty Knight is in. And this is a great panel here. Excellent use of color by our colorist, Glynis Oliver. This blue here, we know the oxygen is rapidly running out, and of course, blue is the color of cyanosis, cyanotic skin, so we know that Misty Knight is in trouble here. Very well communicated by the color there. Here, back in the Heroes for Hire main offices, Luke is talking to the pair's executive secretary, Jenny Royce, and she's telling him how great it is that he has this contract to protect this local bank, and how it's going very well. And Luke gets a call from Iron Fist and informing him what's going on with Colleen and Misty, and he's out of there, even though she says, Mediterranean Banking has you under contract. Jenny, it's after 5 o'clock. They can stick their contract. If I spend my free time helping my friends, it's my business. So Luke is out of there. Very powerfully drawn by Gamel and Villamonte here. They do a very nice Luke Cage in the classic costume. And here we are. They're in an alley outside of the warehouse where the vault is located. And they're thinking about their plan of how to get in. And meanwhile, Iron Fist has a plan of his own. They turn around and he is gone. And there's a great sequence of panels here showing how Iron Fist uses every scrap of terrain on the city street to elude these supposedly watchful thugs as they're loading this stolen art into this warehouse. And you can see his feet here. Of course, he's behind a light pole here, mailbox there on the truck here. And what's funny is they're going to call back to this later in the issue, and it's pretty great, actually. A little bit of humor we're going to see here from it. But Iron Fist still very sneaky, getting by until finally he has one last thug to get past, and he uses a ruse here with his sash. Hey, you, wearing the yellow ribbon, come out from behind there. I see you. Hey, it ain't nothing but a decoy, Iron Fist thinks. And he chokes the guy unconscious. And Colleen explains that Iron Fist is using his ninjutsu training. And she says, how are we going to get in? And Luke has his own ways of getting in. So he's going to use what's called the direct method. And here he is, one of his hallmarks. He's superhumanly strong. He can lift press around 3 tons, but also he is bulletproof to even high caliber bullets. So he just takes it, he draws fire. Colleen, even though she's injured, she got taped up and she's coming along, and because she is loyal to her friend to the death. So she's gonna be there helping as well. And they mow through these thugs. Cool scene in the background here. Luke has bent an old axe to lock out anyone who tries to get in, to seal these doors off. So they're moving in as well. Iron Fist finds the vault. He monkeys with the lock, but there's no way he's going to get in. He's not a lockpick. So he calls upon an ability that he alone possesses, summoning his chi, the essence of his spirit, channeling it down his arm into his hand until that hand becomes like unto a thing of iron. So that is his signature move. Obviously, he can't always do it. It drains him. But here he has summoned his chi, the power of the Iron Fist, his namesake, and he shatters this vault door with all that power. Great sound effect there. Skrakow. Excellent job by our letterer, Jim Novak, to add that in there. Pretty incredible. And he finds Misty barely alive, but alive. And she gets a wash of oxygen and recovers, and he's pulling her out. Meanwhile, on the lower floor, Luke and Colleen have mowed through the thugs, but they have been found by the constrictor. So here, she unsheaths her steel. But perhaps in this one instance, it was not wise of her to do that, because the constrictor warned her earlier about his coils, his adamantium coils, and he had a few other tricks up his sleeve, and this is one of them. He shocks the daughter of the dragon unconscious with an electrical burst. Colleen! You're lucky, man. Constrictor, she's still breathing. Just whom do you think you're talking to, you buffoon? Constrictor, I love it. The guy has supreme confidence. I mean, he took a contract to kill Jim Wilson, the Hulk's best friend, came up against the Hulk, and just went at the Hulk as if he was just another job. Of course, the Hulk ended up beating him, but the man does have, well, let's just say he's got some chutzpah. All right, so here he's battling Luke Cage. You keep tapping me with them things, and I'm gonna get real mad. Very well, if my coils alone can't stop you, let's see how you like a jolt of electricity so powerful that it nearly defeated the Incredible Hulk. I do like how he's honest. Nearly defeated, not defeated. And Luke is, he's hurt by it. So now he knows he's got to avoid those coils. And we're going to see how he tries in a minute here. In the meantime, Iron Fist and Misty are making their way out of the vault. She's slowly recovering, and they're about to be stopped. Good plan, kid. It might have worked, except for one thing. I've heard you use your Iron Fist before. The sound brought me running. What a tremendous panel here. Just absolute oozing with menace. Sabretooth perched atop this priceless old statue. And it just looks really cool, very well lit, and just richly rendered and colored panel. Just awesome. He leaps from the statue, striking with incredible speed and ferocity here. And Iron Fist, they've tangled before in Iron Fist 14, that Immortal issue, so Iron Fist knows what he's getting. He catapults Sabretooth over him with a double kick. And Sabretooth is up and at him again. Sabretooth raked me with his claws once. I have no desire to repeat the experience. Think you got me? Think again. He bites into Iron Fist here, almost taking a piece out of his hide, but just gets his costume. Meanwhile, Luke is doing his best to try and hide from the constrictor. That ninja, what you call it, worked for Fist. Ain't no reason I can't use it too. So he starts to try and do the same thing that Danny did earlier, except he doesn't have the, let's say, the feel for it yet. And so Constrictor is just destroying these objects where he's clearly hiding behind them, trying to get at him. And Power Man has had it. That does it. But we're going to find out what happens there in a moment. First, we've got to revisit Iron Fist. While upstairs, you miserable little rat, Sabretooth says as Iron Fist again flips him over himself and into another piece of artwork. So here, Sabretooth decides to shut the lights out and use his enhanced senses against Iron Fist. Not realizing that the last time Iron Fist defeated him, Iron Fist was snowblind and still was able to defeat Sabretooth. So we'll see what happens here. Great shot of Misty, and this almost burn-like here in these two panels. I really love Kerry Gammel's artwork, and he's really strong in this issue, and I think Villamonte should get some credit for that too. Love the coloring too in these dark sequences here. It really sells the idea that they're now in a pitch black warehouse, and here's Sabretooth lurking in the shadows, just so scary and menacing. Iron Fist just standing still waiting for him. Sabretooth springs and apparently rakes and opens up his back with his claws. Danny, cries Misty Knight. She thinks he's a goner at this point. He meant something special to you? I'll give you his heart to remember him by. Sabretooth, ever the menacing villain. But Fist was playing possum. Thanks a lot, Sabretooth, but I'll choose my own gifts for the lady. And here he knocks him out unceremoniously with the right cross. Oh, Danny, man, what happened? Sabretooth is every bit as good as he boasted he is, but he underestimated me. I heard him coming in the dark, rolled with the force of his claws, and played possum. You beat him with an animal's trick. Nice. Downstairs, Luke is about to get the drop on Constrictor here. So he's charging directly at him. You poor imbecile. Didn't anyone ever tell you that water is one of the best known conductors of electricity? So yeah, Luke was made wet by that water pipe that was exposed in the wall, and he's getting the crap shocked out of him here. But he uses the thing that he can fall back on, his incredible strength. He's more powerful easily than Constrictor, and so he sucks up the pain, takes him by the coils, spins him around, and hurls him into the wall, where he now contacts the exposed water pipe and is shocked into unconsciousness. Sweet move by Luke Cage. So we have our aftermath later, after the police have been summoned. So the Daughters of the Dragon and Heroes for Hire, Power Man and Iron Fist, exit the warehouse, and they've got a tidy sum for all of the art that they have recovered. And the Daughters of the Dragon have also recovered the mysterious Jade Tiger. So it's a well-deserved hurrah for them. Well, the night is still young. Why don't we go somewhere for pizza? Not until after you girls see a doctor. And an electrician. You can see that Misty Knight's robot arm's a little bit damaged. Cage, if we can survive your jokes, a few scratches and loose wires aren't going to kill us. So that's our issue. That's Sabretooth Classic, #1, reprinting, Power Man and Iron Fist 66. And here was the great Frank Miller cover from that issue from 1980. Death is the only escape from the Jade Tiger. Guest starring the Daughters of the Dragon. Yeah, awesome issue. Great dollar bin find today. And hopefully we'll run across more of these as time goes on. And once again, I thank you for watching the show, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you again for another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Take care.